bit, creative imagination began to build a new art form. Makes me feel I belong to something.
Hi, very welcome to tonight's show. With me as usual, Oscar.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while, but here we are again.
Yes.
And talk about aspects of work. Work is an important thing, and many people with these neuropsychiatric debilities has difficulties to find work and keep work. So we don't have any, we can say it for the viewers, that we don't have any aspects of work or experience of work outside Sweden. So this will be a bit of Swedish orientated conversation, but we hope that we can, as usual, deliver some tips for you and some ideas about these aspects of work. Your aspects of work, Oscar.
Oh yeah, I don't work currently, like most of the viewers that know me at least know. I don't technically work in a way. okay, this could be my occupation. I
Yeah, I would
podcast,
say
I
you
do
do.
broadcasts, like
Mm,
I do a lot
That's an aspect of
yeah,
work.
exactly. Like I do that and I study at the same time and everything. That could be considered work in a way, I
Mm.
guess.
We have say aspects of work.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't have say that you must be public employed.
Exactly. But yeah, I got tired in a way of getting stuck between the work office where you apply for work and the office where you actually get sick money.
Okay.
Stuck in the middle there, and I got so tired of it.
The job center is under reorganizing in Sweden
Yeah.
today, can we say, for our abroad viewers. One of the biggest reforms on the job center front for at least 2 or 3 decades. So it's I think they deserve to know that it's a messy thing for you
Yeah, it's really
for the moment.
exactly.
So I'm not.
So I'm doing something creative myself instead.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's also an aspect of work, being self-employed
Yeah.
in one way.
Yeah, but that works too. Maybe it's not the same money as a so-called normal work, but it's something to do.
It's something to do. It's important to have something to do.
Yeah.
And why we're beginning with you is most people with neuropsychiatric disabilities in Sweden and in most other countries don't have a regular work. So you can be a good example for a person who has created your own work.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get the regular money. So you have created
No, it's pretty irregular
this.
in that way. Like,
Oh,
and I do some what is it called, lectures also in this field. Like that's always interesting to do, even if I have a real fright of stage fright and a camera fright doing these events. So yeah, but I
Yes,
create
yeah.
my own thing. I create my own thing, and yeah, it has gone pretty good at least. I'm satisfied with the result, even if it has been some rough times that I couldn't work with it as much as I wanted to. But yeah, everybody needs a break.
Of course. But how do you get the idea? I mean, if we can being, we can call it self-employed.
The idea for this, yeah, I started. I just thought about. I started as a gaming YouTuber. I didn't do this at the start at all. I was starting as a gaming YouTuber and streamer, and I haven't done that in a long time now, so I don't know if that's gone or not. But yeah, I started there playing with friends, and I was in other people's streams before that and everything. Then I started, and I also started doing prediction videos for the English Premier League.
Yes.
And a lot of different stuff, because I needed something to do, and I needed to get away from some negative thoughts at the time. So I started working all the time, like literally all the time.
Yeah, but you have the opportunity.
Exactly, I had the opportunity to work that much, even if it's not healthy at all.
No.
And I was going by that for 1.5 years without any major breaks. Yeah, I was working something every day for like 1.5 years, and I count holidays and weekends too.
You find something that was interesting.
Yeah.
And that's our first tip to the viewers. Find something that is interesting. If you don't have a regular work, find something interesting to do. It could be like Oscar, doing YouTube's podcasts, or it could be something else. The most important is that you find something who is interested and you can do something about.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, don't do it like I did. I have been working some days for 14 hours.
Oh, Oscar.
Yeah,
you're a bad example.
I have said that to a lot of people. I can actually...
A bad example.
I can admit that I've said that to a lot of people. They need breaks. They need, like, think about that they don't overwork
I've heard
themselves.
that before.
Yeah, I have said that a lot here. And yeah, I'm in that pit myself, so...
Oh.
Yeah, so... I had some motivation problems recently, and some problems with that. So yeah, I'm in a pit myself in a big way there, and my back has gone messy a little lately, sadly. So yeah, I'm taking it pretty slow right now.
Could be a good idea.
Yeah,
Try to create a good example.
exactly. Like I have to admit that. At least admit it. Like I fell into the pit myself.
Okay, I'm proud of you
Yeah,
that
like-
you don't living in denied.
No, exactly. But yeah, because I've seen a lot of other people also fall into that pit.
Mm.
Yeah,
Human,
like
that-
a lot
that's
of
true.
them have done that.
That's
And
true.
maybe temporary, maybe forever, and yeah,
Unfortunately, it could be forever.
yeah,
We can
because
say
every
it to
time
the
it's-
viewers that going into the wall could actually be a permanent condition.
Yeah.
So be careful. Don't do like Oscar.
yeah.
Don't do an Oscar.
No, don't do it that way. Yeah, I'm content with what I do now, even if it itches in the fingers in a way.
Mm.
Like I want to work, I want to sit by the computer, I want to do these things. I'm still keeping away.
Mm. But that's
This is the only thing
a challenge.
I've done in
I want to do it,
Yeah.
and not
People
that.
talk to me are annoyed all the time
Mm.
because they always write to me or when I say like work, they just stop it. Like they know about
Mm.
how far I've gone.
But
in
that is, as I say before, the challenge.
yeah,
To want to do something really, really hard,
yeah,
and oops, I can't do it in these aspects.
Yeah.
In this way, I must take it a little easy, so I can keep up slowly.
It's nearly impossible
That,
for me
yeah, but
because
it's a
I can't
challenge.
see it before it's too late.
It's the challenge
Exactly,
to
like-
do it,
yeah.
and I must say you have done it well so far,
Yeah, like that.
actually.
Yeah, but it took 1.5 years until I realized it.
Better late than never.
Yeah, but if we come to regular work, I only worked as a cleaner twice and at a storage thing.
Mm.
I had some problems finding work also because I need some, what do you call it, adjustments
Mm.
to make it possible for me to work.
Like most of our community,
Yeah,
it's not only a question of finding work, finding the right work, the work that you can keep for a while, not just for 6 months, for a year, or a couple of weeks, but a work for a long time. And the challenge, if we're going to my side, I don't work for the job center, but I have worked with the job center in these aspects before. And the challenge is to find the working place interesting an employer that you have a guy here or a girl here who could be something for your company or your apartment. That's the real challenge. And very often, that's my experience, and especially my former boss was very good to find the employers and little bit less good to win the discussion. Okay, I can take you, Oscar, into our business, our company. But if it doesn't work, what should I do? What should I do? Who should I call? That's the next challenge in this. To create confidence for the employers that it will be no problem, you can call us. We can help you if there be anything happen, be anything problem, we can solve it together. You can call us. We are just a phone call away. If you can create that situation that they believe that this is actually true, that's not something we don't just say, that we actually can deliver this We can be there in a couple of hours. We can answer the call if they actually give us a call. Then, if you're coming through that discussion, then it would be much easier to have a possibility to try. If we can convince them that this I said before is true, then my experience is that most employers actually dare to try. And very often they be very happy with the result. So the question is, how can you get them to dare to try?
Yeah. So actually my last employer was a company that kind of lives in the way, give them a chance here so they can go to the next place. You know what I mean? You know about the company. They
Yes.
kind of work in that way. Like they need numbers. They employ people and they need a certain number to go into, so should we call it regular work?
We can say for our foreign viewers that this is a public-owned company in Sweden. We will not mention the name, but
No.
they are created back in the 70s, and unfortunately new regulations has done this. This company cannot decide if they want to hire you or me or something else. That's the job center who decide for them. And very often, unfortunately, job centers say, you get Lisa, we want Oscar, you get Lisa.
Yeah.
Questions?
And the goal also, they have increased the goal, how many they need to get to the regular work.
They have a special number.
Yeah, and that makes them, in a way, that makes the situation like sometimes they get people that the work center is sure they can send to the next place in a while, just to make the number.
It would be a tricks with the numbers.
Yeah, like, but those aren't the people they should focus on when it started. That wasn't the idea, at least.
No, that was not the idea, and unfortunately has been so.
Yeah.
When they become a company,
Yeah.
a company who should make money,
Exactly.
not an rehabilitation business.
Yeah. So kind of, I got one of those, what it's called in English, maybe it was a temporary thing at least. And sadly, they had a policy that you need the percent you can't work if you're going to get a regular work there.
You need contribution from the authorities.
Yeah, you need to have that sick money permanently, the rest. And I didn't get that.
Yes.
So that was goodbye for me.
Yes, that's
and that's how I got stuck in the middle.
Oh, that's a sad story, but true.
Because I was making pretty good money at least before. It was good enough. So yeah. Now I sadly have a lot of times I have to go to the welfare office instead.
Well, at least you
exactly. At least they have something.
Oh. In many countries, they don't even have that.
No, and they're pretty kind to me. They're not like the harshest. I have a good one.
They realize at least why you are there.
Exactly, they realize that it's not
fight.
Me
it's a fight
between
the job center and the social security authorities.
Yeah,
and I would say it's quite the worst situation you can end up in Sweden when you are between the job center and the
because something needs to change
insurance.
To change the situation there. Something needs to change in a way, and that doesn't always happen.
No, because especially if it's been in your case that both authorities are very, very confident of that it should be the other one who takes the initiative.
Then it needs a drastic change to solve the situation.
Then we need a pretty drastic change, and hopefully you're on your way to find that.
Yeah, hopefully I am. But
you have a lot of new papers and helpers on
Yeah,
the way
exactly.
in.
So, yeah, I'm happy.
Happily, so maybe you can
Maybe
get
it will,
that.
won't solve my working situation, but
Oh.
at least I get sick money out of it.
Probably, and at least you can be a customer of the healthcare insurance
Yeah,
authority rather than the job center just now.
exactly. I will just then it will be easier to solve the whole thing.
It's very, very good to be a customer on one or the other, but ended up in the middle that no one wants you.
Oh.
That's a pretty messy situation.
Yeah,
if you are a Swede.
you can get stuck there for years.
Yes, you can.
Luckily, it's not a lot of people who get stuck in the middle.
No, we should say that to the viewers that this is your case is quite unique.
Yeah.
I don't think there are so many 100 people on 10 million
No.
who are stuck in the middle of these two.
No.
That's quite unusual.
Yeah.
I have worked in this field for 15 years, and I know you and one more. So that's quite unusual.
I'm happy for that.
Yes, we could be very happy.
Because
so if you feel unique, it's good for you.
Exactly like that. Yeah. I'm not trying to be normal. Not at all.
Just unique.
I'm embraced my weirdness. Every last second of it.
Well, my experience is that I work in school very much, both in private schools and in public schools. And I have done it both with contribution from the job center and without. So it has been both. And I would say the school system is also going through big changes. And I work from the my first teaching job was in a private school. And sort of private school, quite unique for the Nordic countries. I was there was a temporary job for a year, and I stayed the whole year. It was very interesting, but it was not a working place. Who cares? They just want students. In with the students, stay a couple of months and get them out. In with new ones. Processing people. Yeah. They was very interesting on processing with people and what they learn and how it's going then, what's happening after us.
Yeah, a lot of schools.
It's not our business.
A lot of schools, I think, in the private sector, sadly does that.
I would say I'm a bit surprised that this school was doing this. They have a reputation who says others, but unfortunately they do. So I was not asking for more, if we say so. I was pretty happy.
I've been to a lot of, like, would you say, schools. I think I know the school from you're talking about. I've been a lot of those schools trying. The reputation is nearly never like it is in reality.
No, they're quite...
like I have seen a lot of schools with really good reputation.
But they have...
And bad reputation, it could be the other way around in a way.
Of course, but they have all the opportunities to make something good of this. Because the students who came from the job center came without any condition from the job center. They say, here we have a couple of students who need studies. Do the best you can. You get free hands. So they was not forced to do a certain things, certain education in a certain time. They have actually completely free hands and didn't use it. That's a bit weird. That's I was very surprised.
That's like a perfect situation in a way.
A perfect
you have free
situation.
hands, like, oh, this could go well. Like
you have a year. Exactly. You can do what you can do your best for all people under a whole year. You get paid, and still they want to do it in 3 months instead. Why? They have a year.
Exactly.
Extremely
Yeah, that's really weird.
weird, actually. Very
Yeah.
weird. So I was not sad when I realized that this project was being closed. The job center get no more money for it, and the school was not interesting to going on with more cooperations with the job center. So my employment was ending, and only after a year. But I was not quite happy, actually. Okay, sad not to have a work, but would I really want to work in that school? No. So I get myself another job, my biggest job mistake. I work with young teenagers. That
The
was
roughest
not
crowd ever.
my cup of tea.
That's the roughest crowd ever.
Oh, roughest crowd ever.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of the Swedish countryside in a very small school. For a B and F9 school, it was very small, probably the smallest size you can imagine. Less than 200 students.
Oh yeah, that's a really small school.
It's a very small school from class 1 to 9. And in
Wow.
all these classes has just 200 students.
That's not a lot of students per class.
No.
That's good in that way.
That's good in that way.
Because I don't like those big classes and everything.
I know myself when I was a student and going to big schools, 700, 1,000, 2,000 students. Here we have also 190, I think it was, spread on one grade to 9.
Wow.
And I was in the 7 to 9. Yeah. And I have social knowledge and geography, history, and this type of subjects. Quite small classes. I think there were 15.
That's
16.
really small by Swedish standards.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the
Double up is normal.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was in half class.
Like I always, when I talk with school things or anything, like that's the thing I attack, the big classes.
Mm.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. So it was perfect situation for a teacher. Half the numbers of students you have normally. You have your subjects. You have an headmaster who like his office more than ever. Was never out and stick his nose in something he don't know anything about.
Perfect.
Perfect situation.
Yeah.
I realized after a couple of weeks that their knowledge they should have when they are 13. And the knowledge this class have, at least in my subject, was less than 30%.
Ouch.
I was stung by some, oops, what is this?
Yeah, that's going to
They
be a
don't
problem.
know half what they should do.
That's going to be a problem when they move on.
It was a real problem for in the Swedish school system, 7th grade now it's begin to be serious for real.
Yeah.
And they were extremely unprepared for this. And I was quite new teacher. I have been teacher for 2 years. So I was quite unprepared for this type of students.
Yeah.
And very unprepared for this group of students. It was students who was under my formal education. I was educated to actually study being teacher for older students and grown-ups.
Yeah.
So they was at least 2 or 3 years under. They were actually too young for me. So my lowest level, unfortunately, was far too high for them.
Oh. That's going to be a challenge.
Yes, and I tried to going down. I tried to size it down, but it was impossible. It was actually impossible because if I scale off too much.
Yeah.
I cannot give them any grade
Oh, yeah, oh,
because I don't decide their grade goals myself.
no, they're pretty strict in a lot of ways.
Pretty strict,
Yeah.
and there was actually only 2 who was up to the goal.
Ouch. That's
So of
a really
16,
low.
so 14 gets an F, we can say.
That's really bad if you count like the numbers usually.
Usually you can have say 60, say 15 to make it easy to count.
Yeah.
You maybe have 3 or 4 people who
Yeah,
get
at top,
an F.
like at top. In a normal,
in a normal around 5, 6.
And it depends on like if you have some students with some problems or anything like.
Most of these students have problems. Unfortunately, nobody told me.
Oh, that's a even more interesting situation.
In a more interesting situation, but a lot of things coming through after the semester, going through.
Oh.
By the way, do you know that? And by the way, you do know that too? Okay, I don't know that, and I don't know that either. So I get a surprise every 4 weeks.
At least you got surprised in the work. You didn't get bored.
No. I get pedagogic surprise after surprise.
That must have been rough for a
quite new
so-called
teacher.
Yeah. I should still classify as a new teacher after like just a few years.
Yeah, I was pretty. So I was new. I have my disabilities.
Yeah.
I have 2 young students. They don't know so much. They should know, and have a lot of disabilities themselves.
Oh yeah.
So I I'm being called to the headmaster's office after the first semester, and they say that we think this is strange. You have 14 F of 16 possible.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, here we have the goal, here we have the result. What do you think I should do? The headmaster looked at me and said, be creative.
Oh yeah. Oh, I understand what he meant by that.
Being creative.
Yeah.
To cheat it with the grades.
Yeah.
That's for our
that-
foreigner viewers, that means cheating with the grades.
Yeah, but I have a thing there. We do one of those. Should we call it national test? Is it an 8th grade or when is it? Something like that, isn't it? How would you cheat that?
No, I couldn't.
Exactly, like that. That's impossible almost to cheat.
That's quite impossible. I have that as
because some people have tried and nearly everyone has failed.
Yes.
That's even
they don't ask me to do that. They ask me to be creative.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like that's one thing that will stop your creativity there.
My creative dies under the meeting because I simply refuse to do like the headmasters want to do.
Exactly, because he's not doing them a favor. He's doing harm when he suggests that.
It was exactly what
because
I said.
When they get to the next step, they will have serious problems.
They get serious problems, and I have them as students when they got up to the next step, because I was finished that employment. The headmaster said that it could be a good idea to transfer you to the type of school that you belong to. He couldn't fire me, but I think he has done if he had a possibility. So he get me to the next school.
He did it a creative way. Then.
He did it a creative way. He create a new job for me at the higher level school.
Yeah, for the, if I'm not, what is it? Should we call it in English? For the ones who doesn't get into the next level, is that?
That's
exactly. I don't know what
the
English
department. That's the part of the school I was ending up to.
Yeah.
And that was fine for me.
I don't know if we have that. Do we have that internationally? I have no idea. We have it in Sweden. We do a lot of resources on that thing. And there,
And I think it's very good that we have it because
Yeah.
I was new. Now I have been a teacher for 3 years when this happened, and I was ending up finally in a work situation who I have a possibility to manage, and I get a very experienced colleague who was very helpful, and the best of all my new students was my former students from the other school.
Oh yeah, what a happy day. Oh yeah, but you don't have to get to know them at least and stuff like.
No,
Perfect situation. I have been. I've
all
gone
the
to-
14s.
The funny thing is,
was
I had
ended
to
up.
go to that because I had some serious problems at school. I
Mm.
had some serious problem getting through school. It was first later in my life I succeeded as an adult. But-
You can imagine when they show up at the new school after 3 years in the local school and going to the bigger
And then they see you again. They,
city
yeah,
and realize that, oh, that's he again.
all their hopes goes away. They're like, just, oh.
Actually, we was 16 there too, and of this 16, 14 was my former students, and 2 was from the bigger city, if we say so. They are not cities in international terms. So my colleague knows 2, and as he said, a bit ironic, and rest is yours.
Yeah.
And that's good. You at least know them. And by the way, most of them had disabilities, I realize. So I suggest that you take an initiative for some sort of neuropsychiatric evaluations.
Yeah.
So my first day on that school, on that work, was to writing 14 evaluations replyment.
Oh my God.
I was happy days, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
was there for 7 years. So in somehow I managed it.
Funny enough, those days I went to schools like that, trying to reading up my grades to get into the next step, was kind of one of the best experience I had.
Mm. So to work with this, there was when I started to work with youth or young adults who had these disabilities. I was the only one at that part of school who knows something about this. So they say that everybody who has this letter combination of Saniform, we don't know anything about, we are too old and not interested, you get them.
Oh.
And why should you see so sad out? You get free hands. You can do this in your own way. And now you have 3 years
Exactly. Like,
to do things so.
yeah. How
So
did-
now could I be creative?
Yeah, exactly. But how did they do like managing your own things, like adapting to that in the different schools?
That was one of
Your
the
own like
Mm.
problems because of this.
Mm.
How did you manage?
I realized that I have no chance to administrate these students because then this part of school started to grow.
Yeah.
So 16 become 25, 25 become 35, and we ended up with 44 when I was finished 7 years later. So and most of them has these neuropsychiatric disabilities. So I have actually the biggest class on school who I was official manager for. I was official manager for 37 students.
Oh. Oh no.
So I have 37. I was responsible to have 37 conversation with parents. I wasn't going into the wall, but I actually stare at the wall
Yeah, like
a long time.
A lot of parents, I shouldn't hang them out. They can be impossible. I heard that too. When the kids doesn't get the grades, the parents think they deserve.
That was not the hard thing here. The
Right.
hard thing was to explain to the parents that your son or daughter don't have the capability
Oh,
to get all A's in all subjects.
oh yeah, that can be a sensitive thing. That's always sensitive. Like, are you?
I smash a lot of toes because
Yeah.
I was not so diplomatically. I've served this information quite straight away.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, as my older colleague said, when you told the parents the bitter truth, try not to smash them in the face.
Yeah, that's the thing that like that's a social thing that we can sadly do sometimes. We can
Yes,
smash people with the truth in the face.
we can smash people with the truth, and I did it a lot. I get to learn a lot
It's
myself when I try to manage this mess.
Yeah, like I have done that a few times, like served the cold truth straight in the face, thinking I'm honest at least.
And if you're doing that on the work, your boss is in a way to be disappointed.
Yeah,
And my headmaster was disappointed in one way. On the other hand, he needs me.
Yeah.
But he was quite honest with that he doesn't like me, or he doesn't like the department I work on. If I had to decided, they will close that one from one day on another. But unfortunately for him, he couldn't. The states had decided that this part of school is
and I'm really happy
law.
that they have done that.
a law demand.
Yeah, I'm so happy that they have done that because a lot of schools would close that department so fast if it wasn't.
Everybody realized that. So my older colleague said to me very often that you should be happy that you work on the only part of school who are demand and managed by law, forcing law.
Exactly, because a lot of those schools actually choose like, are we having those kind of educations for kids or teenagers in that department and everything? But that's the only department that is secure as.
Unfortunately, there was not a demand that you have any special training on these departments. It was coming later, so I get my first courses in special education. But from the beginning, was not a demand. You must be an licensed teacher, but you don't need to have any special skills in disabilities. But I have, because I have met them in the first private school. So I have some documentation experience, and because I have that, it was a formal, what can we say, formal skill on paper. So we get a lot of people who actually come to our school, ask for come to our school, because I become better and better year after year, being more skillful, learning more about education and work with people with disabilities. So when I come to go 5-6 years, I was quite good. I was actually quite skilled to work with this group. I may be not good to work with normal students, but I'm quite good to work with them. So I get the first students who actually have come just because of us, just because of me and my older colleague, voluntarily going to our school. And they have a lot of hope that here we have a teacher who understands. Here we have a teacher who knows these things about neuropsychiatric disabilities and so on. Here we have some who knows this. And unfortunately, I don't have the opportunity to deliver all these things they hope for. Because now we were not 14, now we were 44.
Yeah.
And I have 37 of them.
That can get really messy because those groups can change so much. Those groups who picks up students like that. And I have even gone to an even stranger version of this. I've gone to a school that's specialized on picking up students that drop off their education, that jumps away from it. That's a whole different field. I've gone to a school like that also. It was a combination between those two. That had a specialization.
We don't work with dropouts.
But I should think they should open that market more too. like to catch them.
Yes.
Otherwise, they can just.
We can say that I'm
Yeah.
working with dropouts now.
Yeah.
In my work I have now, former dropouts, can we say? But in this situation I was now, I realized that I was actually a passenger on Titanic. This was a sinking ship. I could manage a year or maybe 2 if I have luckily, but sooner or later this will be a collapse, because I was on the way to get the whole majority. Sooner or later will have all people with diagnosis. And I was the only one who knew something. So I being responsible for everybody.
Yeah, that.
And then my older colleagues was retired. And I find myself that, I'm 35 and I'm being left here. He is gone. The other teacher on the special courses are also gone. They are going retired. So that's me left with 44 students. And of course they will hire one new, but I have absolutely no idea who that should be, and have no influence about the recruitation process. I was ending up here. He was saying, I'm going to be retired now, Andreas. So, no, that's the way. It was very nice to work with you, and good luck with the 44.
Exactly, good luck. Like you're doomed.
The Titanic was sink. I realized that I can't manage 44 students self, and I have no opportunity to find another work. It was very, very hard to find something good at that point of view. I have a little luck to after a while find. I was finished. I was resigned. I realized that I have no chance to survive in this situation.
You will stress yourself to death trying to manage them if you stay there like
Mission impossible completely.
Yeah, sooner or later we will hit the wall in a high speed.
Yes, I realized that. So I decided to drop off before I hit the wall. And I managed to do that in a good way, with a little support from the job center. I sooner find another job. It was quite interesting in a private company, private coach company, who also work with neuropsychiatric disabilities. And they was working for the job center with working rehabilitation. So I leave history and geography behind and start to work as a neuropsychiatric disability coach. And I get a very fancy education for it, also paid.
Oh yeah, that's always positive when you get that.
Yes,
always.
I was on completely when the lady who has the company actually called me one day. I was a bit depressed over my situation. 44 students, the semester is starting in a week. What should I do?
Yeah, exactly. Like, should I try to?
Should I stay or should I go?
Exactly. Like, should I take another round? Should I leave the sinking ship? That's like you get in.
I must say,
I don't want to leave them either. Like.
Yes, I was. Unfortunately, I was thinking like people with neuropsychiatric disabilities very often do. Here I have a very interesting job who I can probably manage, or I can stay here on the sinking ship. Bye bye. So it was bye bye, and I don't know what the headmaster of that said, but probably nothing who we can recall.
Exactly. Like he must have been furious.
Probably not, because I know he doesn't like me, so he was happy to get rid of me. But he probably
but he was in a situation where he
was not happily with the situation. He was out of teaching.
He was in deep stuff.
He was out of teaching, and the semester was starting in 5 days. I think he was not so happy.
Oh.
But I have to think myself on myself in this. I can't say I'm proud to drop off.
That's one of my problems. I rarely think of myself in those situations. That's actually one thing that got me in this mess in a way.
But I do that.
Yeah, but
I do that.
I don't have that certain thing about myself that is usual in our situation. I don't do that. That's a difference from me from the rest. The rest is I think way too much about other people.
It's a fine thought, but it's come back to you.
Yeah, it comes back.
It could come back to you in a negative way.
Exactly, like sometimes it comes back to me in a negative way.
I was more afraid of the consequences of hitting the wall than leaving the sinking ship.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about the sinking ship.
You're sinking with the ship.
Exactly. Like every captain should sink with the ship.
Oscar, do you have a wetsuit?
No.
Get one.
Why would I need one? I can just bring a mankini instead. Exactly.
Okay, you try that instead.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get this coaching job, and I realized that I'm going from a quite big working place to very small. It was only 3 people.
Well, that's like my thing I do. We're 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
We were 3 people too.
Yeah.
And it was very free work too. There was very little support from the boss, because the boss was out to looking for workplaces to testing participators and find jobs to the participators, because we have 2 missions: working rehabilitation and doing what the job center should do but are so good to do at that time, finding jobs to this kind of people. So she worked full time with this, and all the preparations was my younger colleagues' business to do. So we simply we have 15 from 15 rehab participators. Half around come from the job center and half from the social security authorities, who also buy services for us. So I was taking the job center ones, and he was taking the FK ones, the social authorities. So we working against this, and it was very interesting, because then I saw the job center from the inside.
Oh yeah, that can't be pretty.
Quite messy at that time, but I realized that the people who work with this kind of people was very skillful. They have so many, so they couldn't work with them, but they have a lot of ideas, they have a lot of tips they could give to me. Talk with that one, that company is a good one, that school is a good one. So very often they give you ideas and concepts under the meeting when we have I have with the participators. They was giving a lot to us, because they have not the opportunity to do it, but they have contacts, so they simply give you a receipt card. You can call him, and that's a good school, and that's the one, and how do you think about this, and so on. So they was very cooperative, and also working who was perfect for me, because I had the opportunity to give services to the participators, get tips from the people who buying our service without any bureaucratic demands. It was very unbureaucratic.
Yeah, that has been nice.
As an amazing thing to say about the job center.
Yeah.
They was not bureaucratic.
Oh, that would have been
Every
amazing.
Swedish viewer think I'm lying.
Yeah, exactly, because we're one.
But they was.
We're one
Truly.
of the most bureaucratic countries there is.
Not,
We have a neighbor in south that is worse than us, but
I would say not being most bureaucratic in the world.
They-
We have the most bureaucratic job center in the world
Yeah,
until recently.
they have been a nightmare.
They have been a
Correct.
nightmare. But in this part, they was
Yeah.
very straight.
Oh, that's
No,
good
no.
for us.
If we want a paper, if we want something for them, we can get it right over the disk. They were
Oh, that,
finished. Was very, very.
I would just look at them like, what is your secret plan here? No, in a way, like, what?
They was very, very cooperative. And the funny was, this was an educate was a work who was paid by the job center. So my employers get money for the job center for hiring me. So I could have a meeting with my counselor at one time, and then I could share counselor with one of the participators at the same time.
Yeah.
So to save time, we take both my and her thing at the same time.
Yeah.
It was okay for her, and it was okay
Oh,
for the job center, and
That's
everybody was
interesting,
comfortable. about
because
it.
usually when it comes to them, they would have 2 meetings.
Yes, but they
At
actually
least.
yes, but the unique situation here was they accepted a client meeting.
Yeah, that's just interesting. Like they have been impossible, a lot of them, when it comes to those things.
Mm.
Like they have been so square. Like
And I still have that type of work now. So I have still the same counselor today at the job center. We don't meet so often because it's not necessary, but I have been wise enough, because what's happening with the job center now, I have been wise enough to keep her, at least on the paper. So recently she's showing up, not to meet me, but to meet one of our clients. I was not on the client meeting, but we are talking about this, how we have a client meeting. So she was saying, unfortunately, we cannot have these type of meetings. And I have before, but have been very fun. Unfortunately, not okay any longer.
No,
have been very fun.
Yeah.
It's been very fun. So
I've never had a.
I at least get a lunch.
I don't think I ever had a counselor at the work, the employment office.
Oh, I have.
I'm the strange.
I have
that
one
everything.
since 2006.
Yeah, because like
more or less actually.
Yeah, when I go to those places, when I was actually on sick pay before, I didn't even get an offer of what do you call it, daily things to do, like small things. I've never even gotten that offer, and that's a really usual offer in Sweden. That do those small things, you know, that you have something to do during the day. I've never even got that offer, and I was away from with sick leave before I was 30 for like 5 years.
I was one of the few who actually get get 2 of my 4 jobs from the job center. That's quite unique.
Oh, wow, that's a good statistic.
That's a good statistic.
Yeah, that's really.
So this job at the coach, that coach job I actually get from the job center. Yeah. They called me and said, "We know her. She needs a guy who we think would be. You will be the perfect employer for her. Yeah. Would you like to meet her?" Yes. Fine. Drop in after school, and so we can talk about it. But you're closing 4. Yes, we are closing 4, but it doesn't matter. We solved that. Come to the backside. So I'm sneaking in the backside.
Actually, when I got my job in Japan, they actually got me a job in a way, but I didn't have any counselor there. But I just called that sick thing. I had it before I was 30, and I'm tired of just sitting here and rolling my thumbs. I'm so tired of it. 2 days later, I had an appointment there. 1 week later, I had a job. I was just rolling.
This was.
Oh, I just rolled in like
that. This was quite fast too, because we signed employment contract at the backside of the job center office.
That just sounds strange. That just sounds like a strange deal.
Oh, I have signed contracts on
I don't-
trash cans,
oh,
literally.
Oh, yeah. I'm not surprised.
We were signing
I'm not
on the
surprised
trash
when
can.
it comes to you. I'm not surprised at all.
We actually signed it on the trash can outside because they have we have the meeting outside in the parking place,
Yeah.
and our council
That
has all the papers. They have
yeah.
closing.
Well, did it
They
just
have closing 4
Did it
o'clock.
just happen to be in the winter when it was
No,
dark also?
summertime.
Oh yeah, I was just wondering to make the right mood for those strange meetings. You know?
No.
That would have been like the perfect.
We signed the contract on the trash can outside on the backside of the jump center.
Oh.
And by the way, we have a job offer.
Yeah, wow.
Actually signed it on the trash
Strangest
can.
deal ever.
Strangest deal ever.
They like
It was a good job.
yeah.
It was a perfect job for people with my disabilities. But
Yeah, well, if I get a regular,
I was a bit surprised when I meet these people there was like some very sneaky meeting
yeah,
on the backside of in an alley on the backside. Was
really sneaky meeting.
It was
If
not.
someone
It
would
was
have-
not dark.
If
but,
someone would have seen you, they would have thought something way worse.
oh, what they are dealing.
Yeah, like that's what I meant. Like it would have been dark, though. That would just have been the perfect thing. But
There was the first sneaking meeting with the job center, but it was not the last. On the other 6 years I was employed at this coach business, we have a lot of sneaky meetings.
Yeah, that sounds like my old workplace. With your someone you know also. that sounds like
The most sneaky meetings I think
sneaky
we
meetings.
have was in the kitchen at home at my boss when she was at work. We use her kitchen as an office for an official meeting with the job center.
Okay, that's just strange. That's just weird.
Because she has rented out our conference room.
That's
I have rented out the conference room, unfortunately. Here you have my home key. You can take the job center guy home to me.
oh yeah. That's like sounds like a start of a movie, and not a movie for kids. That is
I've never told one before, but we actually did that, and we did that more than once. It was a perfect.
That doesn't sound better when you say that right after I said that movie thing. Oh no.
But it's actually proved that they was very anxious to help us.
Yeah.
They was doing their best for our participators, both when they actually give them to us. They have always good informations, and they try to do our work easier, and we get most of the people to studies or work. We actually have a good rating, 9 of 10.
Wow,
We succeed with 9
that's pretty
of 10.
rare in that business.
Oh, because we get a lot of help.
Yeah, but still, it's really rare in that business.
Because I think they like us.
Yeah.
And the
Someone they actually
reason
like.
that they like us was they know what she has employed other people with the same problems.
Yeah.
And that, I think, was
It's like
open the doors to.
It's like I figure we have been talking
this.
about that to ourselves in a way. My little business, if you call it that.
Mm.
I think it would be more impossible to one day employ a so-called normal person than another one with neuropsychiatric
Disabilities.
Yeah, because it will be a bigger adapting thing to get a normal person into the team. Because that's not the usual style.
It's funny
of
to
us.
say because my former boss said exactly the same.
Yeah.
She has asked the job center if they knew a teacher who has some new psychiatric disabilities, light version of it at least. So she has specially asked for it.
Yeah, like we have discussed that amongst me and you. Like that could be a problem in one way. Then we need to adapt, because that person wouldn't understand half of what we're doing and why
No.
we're doing it.
No. So tips to our viewer is if you don't are so lucky that you're getting sneaked by the job center and signed contracts on trash camp
Or people's kitchens.
or in people kitchens, you can at least doing this. First of all, have your own idea of what you are good at. Come to the counselor, come to the job center with an idea of, I want to do this. I have an idea of working with this, but people are very bad to think for you. You are still knowing your best yourself. You maybe need help. We did, you did, or something else, of course. But at least get an idea. Have an idea, your own idea. You don't need many, but 1 or 2 ideas. This I can do. I think I can try this. That depends on the countries or the organization of the job center and your local possibilities. But 1 or 2 ideas at least, written down. Have it on the paper. It's always easier for the counselor who maybe have the opportunities to help you, or the job center service man or woman, if you have it on the paper. It will help out, easier to find.
Oh, yeah.
And also describe your problem. I don't have any contacts on labor market. I have maybe bad self-confidence in interview situations or something. Be open with your disabilities and your challenge. It's very easy to help you if you are open and truthful. And don't make the mistake to try to make things better than they actually are.
Yeah, and don't do the mistake I've learned in our previous episodes of this. Don't say that you could take any job. I've done that mistake time after time.
And don't go to the Swedish job center and say, I can take any job anytime,
that's
because
shooting
they
yourself.
don't believe you.
No, that's shooting yourself in the foot. They just, what do you want to work with? I can take anything. I just happy to get up work. I said, they just, where should we start then?
Mm.
Like
You
I
must have
thought that
that
as
idea.
being like that was a good thing from the beginning. Like, because I think like, oh, then I can take anything. I'm open to everything. I can take any job, how crappy they even like, whatever. But yeah, they don't know where to start. They get panicked and they don't know where to start.
No. We was very careful with just these ideas, to have really good ideas about what they could do, the participators could do. And it was very, very important to find out that they have these ideas, so we can get a job concept out of it. So get a job concept. If you can get it yourself.
At least get an idea what kind of thing you
precisely get
kind of
get
want to
an
do.
own idea.
Yeah, maybe you can.
Write it down.
Maybe you don't say like, I want to work at this company doing just that and nothing else. Maybe you shouldn't paint yourself in a corner, but have a certain idea at least. I want to work in a storage thing. I want to do in transport, or like do something that can narrow it down.
Because they can't help you if you don't have this own idea about what you want to do. And that's the most important thing we can say tonight.
Yeah, and the thing that also will run us off, actually.
Thank you
Thank
to
you.
have you here.
Yeah.
And thank you for viewing. And, hopefully we see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
And I will try to answer every comment later on.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.